The Southern Utah Sports Report is back. We have so much to get to as Region 9 is in the thick of it with their winter sports kicking off. We've got Utah Jazz, the Utah Mammoth are hosting Vegas Golden Knights tonight, and so much more, all in this episode of the Southern Utah Sports Report. Welcome back on in, everybody, to the Southern Utah Sports Report. My name is Caden Formaster. Thank you so much for joining me here on the show today. It's been a while since we've had a show, and it's good to be back. So if you have missed out on the show for the last 3 weeks, here's why. My wife had a baby about 3 weeks ago. On October 30th, my wife gave birth to a very healthy baby girl. So we're very excited about that, but it does mean that I've been away from the podcast and from the Fan Sports Network studios for a while, but we are back at it, and we're going to be diving into the thick of it with winter sports. It's here. We're going to be talking a lot of Region 9. We've got Utah Tech and SUU to get to, and so much more. So let's just dive right on into it. First off, talking some Region 9 athletics. So let's go back a little bit because there is a lot to get to here. And of course, this is going to be one of those things where we can't talk about everything in every single game and every single player because there's just too much to cover in winter sports, especially from the last 3 weeks. So to really talk about it, to really get on into it, first off, let's just talk about how everybody's doing so far. I think that's going to be an easy way to get us all caught up. Starting off, we'll go with boys basketball, and we're going to go over what the standings and the rankings are looking like so far. Just kind of going over just the more or less, I guess, the wins and losses. We'll talk wins and loss column for right now. And the way that it's all going so far is, first up, you've got Dixie sitting at a solid 3-0. They're looking great. Fantastic right now. Dixie at a solid 3-0 to get the season started, which is great. That's really good for them. Fantastic. You've also got the Hurricane Tigers. They've started off their season strong as well. So as of right now for the Tigers, they're looking at a 2-0 start. Pineview's at a 2-0 start. So we've got a few teams that are completely undefeated up to this point in boys basketball. I will say Cedar and Snow Canyon still off to good starts here, 2-1 for them. And same as Crimson Cliffs, also 2-1. So they're still on the winning side of their brackets. Good way to start the season so far. Desert Hills is 1-2. So they do at least still have a win, and they hosted a tournament this week. We'll talk more about them and how they've been doing so far. But that's how everything is shaping up at the moment. So if we go back to this tournament that was going on, first up, we had the Coach Walker Classic. The Coach Walker Classic is one of those that is staple here in Southern Utah. Sometimes happens a little closer to the holidays, but this year it was definitely, obviously pre-Thanksgiving is definitely really early to get this tournament in, but I'm glad that we did. It was a fun tournament, and we had some really good play from a few different teams. And really good to see. So you had, for example, in that first day, Snow Canyon come up short 72-62 against Bountiful in the tournament there. Cedar was able to get a good win. By the way, this was not a part of the Coach Walker Classic, but 69-50 in their first game. In the Coach Walker Classic, Dixie got a buzzer beater win over Provo. I mean, this one was a phenomenal game. Came down to the wire, 61-59. With the win over Provo. Just a beautiful win for them and a good win over Provo, who is slated to be one of the top teams in 4A. Pineview had a blowout win over Manti, 70-32. Also, you had Crimson falling to Wasatch, 79-68. Mountain View beats Desert Hills, 63-59. All of that went down on Thursday. Friday, which I was a part of Friday's action. For those of you that followed along with the Fan Sports Network, we broadcast 3 games on Friday night. And one of those games was Snow Canyon and Manti. Snow Canyon got the win there, 65-47. Desert Hills was able to get a win here. Not a part of the Coach Walker Classic. They had their own tournament going on. But they won 64-55. And Cedar also getting another win as well. They were up north. Cedar wins this one 47-42 over Northridge. Plus, we had Dixie getting a win 58-55 over Bountiful. That's a really good win. Bountiful's a good team. They're a bigger school. Anytime you can get wins over those bigger schools in some tougher competition, then it's obviously going to be a good win to have. The game of the night, though, was probably Pineview and Provo. Again, I mentioned Provo being one of the top teams in 4A. Pineview put on a show. It was 76-63. And that game, you can go back and watch it. If you go to the Fan Sports Network YouTube page, you can watch it over there and on the fansportsnetwork.com. But this was a huge win for Pineview. Again, it comes off of a big win over Manti the night before, but early on in the game, they lost one of their key contributors too. Maddox Schiff goes down, and I'm not exactly sure what the extent of his injuries were, but I would dare say that it seemed like some sort of a ligament tear, I would guess. That is fully speculation. I do not know. I don't have anything that has been specified to me that's saying that this is exactly what his injury was. It's just what it seemed to be from my perspective. Something in the knee popped. We'll leave it at that. That was obvious to anybody who was there in the arena that night. So let's go to Crimson Cliffs. They won this game 81-64 over Spanish Fork as well. So there's a few of the scores for you from over the weekend. Saturday, there was a good slate of games as well. Cedar lost to Roy, their first loss of the season, but they're looking good so far. Snow Canyon blowout win over Summit Academy, 82-55. Plus a few other games going on here with Dixie getting a 1-point win over Green Canyon. Green Canyon was in the playoffs last year not just the playoffs, in the finals. They're in the finals against Payson. Payson ended up winning the championship, but Green Canyon, really solid team. They fall by 1 point, 59-58. And Crimson Cliffs also gets a win here, 68-58. And that's just about it for our Region 9 schools. Canyon View did play as well. They did lose to Hurricane 73-31. Big time win here for the Tigers. And they're starting off their season strong, like I mentioned before, going 2-0 in this early play in the season. So the Tigers are looking good. Honestly, everybody's got a winning record besides Desert Hills at this point. And that doesn't mean anything against Desert Hills. It's early. Anything can happen. Things can change. So just keep that in mind. As of right now, things are going good for 4A teams, for Region 9 specifically. It doesn't mean that they're going to stay that way. As for girls basketball, let's talk girls basketball for just a little bit. We're going to get back on into it here. For the girls, not so lucky. They didn't go so lucky this to start off the season. We do not have a single team that is undefeated in Region 9 for the girls, which is unfortunate. But the Cedar Reds are 1-1. Hurricane Tigers are 1-1. Crimson Cliffs, Desert Hills, Dixie, Pineview, Snow Canyon, all of which have yet to get a win so far in the season. So some of them only played one game. Pineview's played one. Desert Hills has played one. Snow Canyon's played two. And I guess Dixie hasn't even played any, so we'll give them a pass for now. So Dixie actually hasn't played a game yet, but Crimson Cliffs has lost two, Snow Canyon lost two. So just to give you a few there. So we'll see if the girls can try to turn some things around here and get back on track a little bit more. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's go to some Utah Tech athletics. Moving on from high school for a little bit after we talk some basketball there. For Utah Tech, first off for men's basketball program, they have started off the season 4-4. If you missed out, they went on a big road trip, and they've had a few games at home, but most of these have been on the road. An overtime win in South Dakota. They had a win at home against Bethesda. Went down to Arizona, played against Arizona and Arizona State. And I will say, played them better than maybe I expected. You know, these are Big 12 teams. Arizona's number 13 in the country. They played them okay. Just okay. You know, you're expecting a loss, but I will say, like, they played them well in the first half. It really was the second half where they started to run free a little bit more. So kind of interesting. They went out to Hawaii, had a tournament out there, came home with one win in 3 games, but they did have a win on Friday night against Noble University, 96-48. A statement win. You're going to take that. You love that. They do play against Portland State coming up tomorrow. This is another home game. They're home all this week through Thanksgiving. Home against Portland State, and then home on Saturday against UC Riverside. So tune in for that game. That's a 3 o'clock tip-off on Saturday, 7 o'clock tip-off tomorrow night, which we'll talk more about in tomorrow's show. As of right now, again, yes, they are playing decent basketball to start off in this non-conference schedule. Once they get into conference play, though, the first game of conference play is at the end of December 29th. So it's non-conference all the way through Christmas. The first game after Christmas, they're into WAC play. So keep that in mind. As for the women's basketball, they've started off a little stronger, 3-1. Only one loss so far, and that loss came to Weber State, and it was a fairly close game. They kept it within a single-digit score for a loss, 82-76, which is not too bad. They were supposed to play against a school called Westcliff. That game got canceled. They did play against Northern Arizona. That was a win. Played against Omaha. That was a win. Played against Portland State. That was a win. 3-0 at home, 0-1 on the road. They go on the road on Tuesday, tomorrow, to Arizona State. So they will have some tough competition there before they are back home for a long slate of home games that will start on the 29th and go all the way through to the 17th. December 17th will be the final game of that stretch. That's all home games. And then they'll start conference play as well, same as Utah Tech basketball, men's basketball, on the 29th. They're going to be on the road at SUU, and the men will be home against SUU on the 29th. So that's how things are going right now for Utah Tech. And so far, so good. You'll take it. It's an early start to the season, but it's fine. You'll be all right with it. Now, let's talk a little SUU. There was a chance that the SUU T-Birds football team was going to make it into the playoffs. They didn't. They sadly missed out on it. And of course, Utah Tech did as well, but Utah Tech wasn't as close as SUU. There was maybe some talk that SUU could maybe sneak in to the playoff, but they did not get that opportunity. So their season's over. Utah Tech's football season is over as well. SUU went out on a high note. Utah Tech, not so much, but football over. We'll put it in the past. Football is over, and it is now behind us. SUU men's basketball, not as lucky as Utah Tech when it comes down to the men's basketball programs. They have lost a few more games here, including games to Arizona State. They lost to UTRGV, that is University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. They did have a win over Bethesda. Big win there, statement win, 118-60. Lost to Omaha, lost to Gonzaga. It's Gonzaga. They're number 13 in the country. I mean, that's fair. They did have a win over Noble University as well. So Noble was here. They played against Utah Tech on Friday and SUU on Saturday. So they have that win over Noble University as well. Their next game will be not until Friday. So we got some time, Friday the 28th against Robert Morris. So that's how SUU is shaping up right now in men's basketball. So for the women, a little different here for the women. They're looking good. Women's basketball is phenomenal. 5-1 up to this point in the season, and they've beat some decent teams. They've beat Washington State. They beat Eastern Washington, who's going to be a rival of theirs coming up when they switch over to the Big Sky. They did lose to Idaho, but it was close. 76-72 was the score there, so only lost by 4 to Idaho. They've beat Benedictine University Mesa. Never heard of that one before. And beat Cal Poly. Their next game is on the 29th as well. So that's women's basketball for SUU. They're looking good. 5-1 start to the season, and their only loss was a 4-point loss. Take it. Take it all day long. You love to see it. That is how college hoops are shaping up right now across Southern Utah. Let's get in some more hoops. We're talking the Utah Jazz. And last night, a heartbreaker. A heartbreaker, 108-106. For those of you that maybe were watching this game at home, you know that it came down to the final shot of the game. There was maybe some controversy. I don't know if there was personally. The final play of the game, there was an opportunity, and I want to say it was Keontae George put up a shot from the corner, and he was hoping to maybe have drawn a foul as well by the looks of it, but they didn't call the foul or anything like that. Missed the shot. Game over. But man, it was still a good game. I think Jazz fans, though, are torn. And the reason I say this is because I think Jazz fans are still in that mode where they're okay losing because they still want good draft picks to continue to work on this rebuild. There are plenty of pieces that the Jazz already have, but I think they would be able to, build a little bit more still this year. They're 5-11. They're still definitely one of the lower teams right now in the NBA, but by far not the lowest. And so that's where things get a little difficult. Do you lose? Do you win? Are you okay with wins? Are you okay with losses? I would say games like this game against the Lakers are almost perfect. And I say almost because you want to see them play well against good competition, but you're okay with them taking those losses if it means you get better draft picks in the future. At some point, though, you've got to be okay with wins and not okay with losses. I don't think this is quite the year for that. I think we've got this year, and then maybe next year we can worry about taking that jump and becoming a playoff team. But for Jazz fans everywhere, This might be the year that you just want to see production. And by that, I mean you want to see, for example, Keontae George has gotten a lot better. You like to see that. Let him play well. That's fine. You want to see Ace Bailey become a little bit more of a key guy and a role player, and he's becoming that. He's in the starting lineup now. You want to see guys like Larry Markkinen still going out and scoring and averaging over 20 points a game, which as of right now he is. So you're okay with those kinds of things. What you are missing out on is you have an injured Walker Kessler. Taylor Hendricks and Walter Clayton Jr. just got assigned to the SLC Stars because they're not playing well with the Jazz right now. Two guys that I think could have impactful minutes on the court are not playing impactful minutes. So they're being sent down to the G League to go and practice. Basically, they're there to develop. They are there to become better players. And so you've got to be okay with that for now. But next year, I don't want to be seeing a guy like Taylor Hendricks going down to the G League. I don't want to see Walter Clayton Jr. going down to the G League. I want to see them playing impactful minutes and putting it all out on the court and getting wins. I don't want to see the plus minus where the starting five are all in the plus and everyone off the bench is minus, because that's how it was last night against the Lakers. Kyle Filipowski was horrible with a minus 27. Your starting lineup, the only guy who wasn't in the positives was Keontae George, and he was a minus 4. So he almost broke even. Everyone else was a minus. Everyone else is in the negatives. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see your starting lineup as the only guys who can actually go out there and play impactful basketball. If that's all you get, then that's what you get. But you want to see your bench guys coming off the bench and playing well. So that's how things are shaping up right now. Standings in the West, by the way, for those of you that are curious, the Jazz are just outside of the play-in tournament at number 11. Teams underneath them, Clippers, Mavericks, Kings, Pelicans. 3 of those 5 teams, I think, are unexpected to be non-playoff teams right now. I think Clippers, Mavericks, and Kings are the maybe right there. All should be playoff teams, if you ask me. It's crazy to me that they're not. Teams like Trailblazers have taken a step up. Teams like the Suns took a big step up from where they were last year. But Grizzlies as well. They're close. They're on the cusp. They could hit or miss. So I don't know. The West is interesting. The West is interesting at the moment. Pistons still lead in the East. Thunder lead in the West. That's how things are shaping up in the NBA at the moment. All right, moving on. NHL. Let's talk about tonight. Vegas Golden Knights are in Utah taking on the Mammoth. For fans of local hockey here in Southern Utah, we talk about this all the time. We are split. There's a lot of Golden Knights fans here. You were established back in 2017 when the team moved into Las Vegas. I get it. You want to stay there. That's fine. There are people who never really got into that, but now that Utah has the team, they're like, okay, Mammoth, we're in on that. There's some people, like myself, who when Vegas came in, I was like, this is awesome. Cool. I watched some games. I would definitely say that I'm still a fan of the Vegas Golden Knights, but man, I'm just someone who wants to represent my state. I love the state of Utah, and I have a hard time not representing the state of Utah. And so it's hard for me. I never had that full allegiance to the Golden Knights, but I'm starting to get that allegiance to the Mammoth. It's hard when they play each other because I'm like, oh, I love when they both win. Just, you can't both win tonight. That's just not how this works. You can't both win. So Vegas Golden Knights, Utah Mammoth going head to head. The Mammoth had a good win over the Rangers back on Saturday night, which is good for the Mammoth. And this has come after they've been on a little bit of a downer, right? They beat Buffalo back on November 12th, but since then it's been rough. Losing to Islanders, you lose to the Ducks, you lose to the Sharks in an overtime game, which you shouldn't have ever been in anyway. They should have won that game. And then, you lose to the Golden Knights already once. So 4-1 game the other day. We're going for round 2. Here we go again. Golden Knights and Mammoth back in Utah. Utah got that win over the Rangers, so they're trying to get back into it. Golden Knights are looking better, though. Obviously, they did get that win over Utah, and standing-wise, they're still looking better. They are still 3 away from first. Somehow it's the Ducks. They've turned their season around, which is insane. But the Mammoth are in 4th in their division. Golden Knights in 3rd in theirs. So still pretty even matchup for the most part. Points-wise, you're looking at a team with 27 points in the Golden Knights. And then Utah is sitting there with, hold up, let me check here. Okay, 25 points. 25 points, 27 points. That's how things are shaping up. Very close for these teams. And we'll see. We'll see how tonight goes. All right. And then finally, the last thing to get to, little NFL from over the weekend, the Raiders take a loss. Is there much more to say? I mean, that's just how the Raiders have been this year. They're taking L's left and right. They're 2-9. It's not good. Shador Sanders comes in and is his first start. It's the last time that there was a starter for the Browns, and I remember seeing this. This is off the top of my head. The Browns haven't had a first-time starter win a game, I want to say since like the 80s or 90s, like 30-plus years, which is crazy. As of right now, the Raiders are the third worst team in the AFC. Titans are still at the bottom, 1-10. Not looking good for the Tennessee Titans. The Giants are 2-win team in the National Football Conference, and the Saints are 2-win team as well in the NFC. But again, as far as the AFC goes, it's them and the Jets. So one of the bottom 5 teams easily. It's not looking good in Las Vegas. I don't know if this is a Geno Smith problem. I don't know if this is a coach, Pete Carroll problem. I don't know where the problems really lie here. They just don't look good. Across the board, the Raiders just do not look that good. And they've got to score some points. They're just not doing it. They're not moving the ball well. The offense is horrible. So for you Raider fans, I feel for you. Now, you Bronco fans, I know we got a lot of Bronco fans here. We cover the Broncos a lot. You're 9-2. It's better to be a Broncos fan right now. Raider fans, you're going to hate that, but I know there's a lot of Bronco fans in Utah. 9-2 so far on the season. You guys are looking really, really good. And next game is going to be against the Commanders. You guys had the bye week this week. Came off that win against the Chiefs. Bye week. And Commanders coming up on the 30th. All right. That, I believe, will do it. How about it? Thank you for joining me here on the show today, the Southern Utah Sports Report. It's been a lot of fun getting back into the swing of things. And this is going to be another weird week because of the holidays. So we aren't going to be posting a ton of episodes. We'll give you this update today. Maybe we'll do one more show before we get into the holidays, but we'll see. Otherwise, come back around next week on Monday, and we'll be back on into it. So until then, thank you for joining me on Southern Utah Sports Report. And until next time, we'll see you.